What the hell is she wearing?
Watch this.
Now let's have a look at Meghan Markle being weird and inauthentic.
Meghan sits beside Marcus Anderson, her longtime friend, the man who once helped her climb elite social circles. A model walks the runway. Meghan leans over and lets out a loud, over-the-top laugh. But Marcus doesn't react. No smile. No glance. Nothing. His eyes stay locked on the runway, like Meghan isn't even there. Her laugh dies mid-air. Her face freezes. Panic flashes in her eyes as she starts rummaging through her handbag, trying to hide the embarrassment. This is how Meghan Markle got ignored by her own friend, at the same fashion show where European royalty had already snubbed her. And it only gets worse. If you saw our viral video about Dame Kristen Scott Thomas brushing her off at Balenciaga, buckle up.
So, Angela, do you buy into the idea that she's doing this now and that the reason that she's bowed out from the spotlight over the past few months is that because, as ever, has been a bit of a disaster, even she acknowledges that, so she knew she had to come back.
That moment wasn't even the most humiliating thing that happened to Meghan that day. I'm not kidding. This is concerning. Even during the show, Meghan looks off. Everyone else is engaged, smiling, caught up in the moment. But Meghan? She looks disconnected, uneasy, like she doesn't belong there. She came to Paris Fashion Week to prove she could fit into the fashion elite, to redeem herself. Instead, she was publicly rejected by one of her oldest friends. That laugh, meant to show confidence, turned into pure cringe. And when your own friend won't acknowledge you in public, that's not just awkward, that's a message. Hit the like button, because what's coming next shows Meghan might be losing support even from her inner circle. And don't forget to subscribe before the end, because Marcus Anderson's silence may reveal more than just fashion show etiquette. Now, let's talk about Balenciaga, and why Meghan's trip to Paris might not be as innocent as it looks. She arrived alone, no Prince Harry in sight. Officially, she was there to support Paolo Piccioli from Valentino and attend high-profile events as a supposed fashion insider. But her attitude told a different story, swanning around like a self-crowned queen, straight out of Game of Thrones. Let's look at this painfully awkward moment between Meghan and Paolo Piccioli, the creative director of Balenciaga. While Meghan was in Paris trying to make an impression, something very different was happening back in the UK. Catherine, Princess of Wales, was dominating headlines. Every paper praised her grace, her style, her poise. Kate was being called the perfect princess. And suddenly, Meghan Markle shows up at Paris Fashion Week, alone. Critics noticed right away. This didn't look like a casual trip to support designers. It looked like a calculated move, a way to grab attention, to compete with Kate's spotlight. Meghan needed a win, a moment that said, I still matter. Instead, she got the opposite, a public embarrassment that made her look out of place, desperate, and painfully isolated. Now, let's talk about Marcus Anderson, because understanding who he is makes this whole situation even worse. Marcus isn't just some friend. He's Meghan's longtime insider, her social guide, the man who opened doors for her into elite circles when she was still a TV actress trying to rise. He works for Soho House, the ultra-exclusive club where celebrities, royals, and billionaires mingle. He's connected to everyone who matters in fashion and society. Meghan brought Marcus to Balenciaga for a reason, to help her fit in, to guide her through the strict etiquette of couture events, and to make sure she looked like she belonged. But from the second they sat down, something was off. Body language experts say Marcus's posture was distant, closed off. He didn't lean in. He didn't react. Meanwhile, Meghan kept shifting, whispering, glancing around, trying to get his attention. In the world of high fashion, where stillness, confidence, and silence speak volumes, Meghan's behavior came across as anxious and awkward. And Marcus's cold silence? It said everything. Marcus was clearly not having it. And then came the moment, the one that went viral, the one body language experts are still breaking down frame by frame. The moment that showed everything wrong with Meghan's attempt to be accepted by the elite. A model walks down the Balenciaga runway. The room is silent, as it always is during shows. Everyone's focused on the art, the presentation, the designer's vision. Then, out of nowhere, Meghan Markle lets out a loud, theatrical laugh. Not a soft giggle. Not a polite chuckle. A full, echoing laugh that cut through the quiet. For a split second, every head turned. Not in admiration, in shock. She had broken one of fashion's biggest unspoken rules. At a show like this, you stay silent. You don't pull focus. You don't try to become part of the performance. The attention belongs to the designer, not the guest. But Meghan either didn't know that, or thought the rule didn't apply to her. And that's when everything fell apart. Meghan clearly expected Marcus to join in, to smile, to validate her. But he didn't move. Not a glance. Not a twitch. His eyes stayed locked on the runway.
And what was happening here? Why is she so shiny? It's like she got a bottle of Soul Glow.
Expression flat, shoulders turned slightly away from her. It was ice cold. The same deliberate non-reaction Dame Kristen Scott Thomas had used earlier to ignore Meghan completely. Meghan's reaction said it all. The laugh died mid-breath. Her smile froze, then cracked. You could see the panic flicker across her face as she realized what just happened. Her own friend had just rejected her in public. And in that split second of humiliation, she did what people do when they're desperate to escape. She buried her face in her handbag, pretending to search for something, anything, to look busy and hide the embarrassment. That wasn't confidence. That was panic. The look of someone who just realized they'd made a huge mistake and their own friend wasn't going to save them. Within hours, the clip was everywhere: TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Everyone was talking about it, breaking it down frame by frame. Body language experts were ruthless. They said Meghan's laugh wasn't natural. It was performative, a desperate attempt to show she was having fun and fitting in. But instead, it exposed insecurity and a craving for attention. They noted how she kept whispering to Marcus, fidgeting nonstop, trying to draw him in while the rest of the room stayed silent and composed. Her movements screamed discomfort, not confidence. Then came the real sting: Marcus's body language. Experts called it protective distance. He wasn't just quiet. He was checked out. Physically there, but emotionally gone. It was the posture of someone who didn't want to be linked to whatever Meghan was doing. Comment sections were brutal. People called it global second-hand embarrassment. They compared it to the Kristen Scott Thomas snub and argued which was worse, being ignored by a stranger or being rejected by your own friend. Fashion insiders chimed in too, saying Meghan had broken multiple unspoken rules everyone in that world knows. And they pointed out Marcus, a man who lives in those elite circles, would have known exactly how bad it looked, and wanted no part of it. But there's a darker twist most people missed. Why was Meghan Markle at Balenciaga in the first place? Who was advising her? Because just months earlier, Balenciaga was caught in one of the most disturbing scandals in fashion history, at campaigns featuring children next to BDSM-themed props and court documents about child exploitation. The backlash was immediate. Celebrities cut ties. People boycotted. The internet exploded with outrage. And yet, Meghan Markle, someone who publicly advocates for children's safety online, showed up front row at their show. It's hard to overlook the hypocrisy. She had options. She could have attended other designers, or made a silent statement by staying away. Instead, she sat in support of a brand still trying to recover from one of fashion's worst scandals. Critics noticed. They called it tone-deaf and self-serving. And maybe, just maybe, that's why Marcus Anderson kept his distance. Because being photographed laughing and chatting beside Meghan at a Balenciaga show could have damaged his standing too, in an industry that never forgets. Let's talk about what Marcus Anderson's rejection really means, because this goes way beyond one awkward moment at a fashion show. Marcus has always been one of Meghan's closest allies, the friend who helped her climb into elite circles. He introduced her to people who mattered, vouched for her, and helped her transition from TV actress to high society figure. For him to publicly distance himself from her, and so coldly, says something has changed, deeply. There are a few possible reasons. Maybe Marcus is simply tired of the drama that seems to follow Meghan everywhere. Maybe people in fashion and entertainment have warned him to stay clear. Or maybe he's protecting his own reputation, realizing that being too close to her could hurt his standing. But the harshest possibility? Marcus was sending a message that Meghan is burning bridges faster than she can build them, and even her oldest friends are running out of patience. Whatever the reason, the result is the same. Meghan showed up to Balenciaga with a friend who was supposed to support her, guide her, and help her look like she belonged. Instead, he sat there stone-faced, refusing to acknowledge her in a moment when she needed reassurance the most. That's not just a friend being annoyed, that's someone making a decision. Staying close to Meghan Markle now does more harm than good. Here's what really happened at Balenciaga. Meghan came to Paris to prove she was still relevant in elite fashion circles. She brought Marcus Anderson, her trusted insider, to make sure nothing went wrong. But it did. Her loud, attention-seeking laugh broke the room silence. Her friend's cold reaction exposed her isolation. And in that moment, her entire act cracked wide open. Because here's the truth, you can buy a front row seat, wear designer gowns, hire top PR teams, and smile for the cameras. But you can't buy genuine acceptance. And when even your closest friends start seeing you as a liability instead of an asset, your whole image starts to collapse. Meghan came to Paris to compete with Kate Middleton, to prove she still mattered. Instead, she proved the opposite, that she's more isolated than ever, desperate for validation, and losing allies one by one. So, Gossip Slice fam, Meghan Markle got rejected at Balenciaga not once, but twice. First by Dame Kristen Scott Thomas, and then by her own supposed friend, Marcus Anderson. Which is worse, being ignored by a stranger or rejected by someone who knows you well and chooses silence anyway? Drop a grimacing face in the comments if watching that moment made you cringe. Drop eyes if you think Marcus was sending her a message that their friendship is done. Real talk, would you stay close to someone whose drama constantly drags you down? Or would you walk away like Marcus did? Hit that like button and subscribe to Gossip Slice, where we serve the truth one slice at a time. Because Meghan Markle's Paris Fashion Week wasn't a comeback, it was a public meltdown. A moment that showed the world she's out of allies, out of goodwill, and out of people willing to stand beside her chaos.